What's going on, YouTube? It's been a little while since I've been on here. I just want to check in with you guys, see how everybody's doing. Maybe answer some questions if you guys have any. I'm also doing a little tech chest here. Tech test. There we go. A little early. To see if I'm really glitchy still. Because last time I was streaming, it was good for about a minute or two, and then it went down and it wasn't looking good. So I basically refreshed everything. And I want to see if it's looking better. So far, it looks like excellent connection. So that's really good. We'll keep it on here for a little bit. I just want to see if it stays good for a while. Because I hadn't done a direct stream through OBS in quite a while, actually. I have been doing all my streams recently through StreamYard. I think it was StreamYard. And that was working really great. But I don't know, for some reason, I think your stream key through OBS and YouTube like goes stale or something. I don't know, and you have to kind of basically refresh everything. And so that's what I've been doing, just kind of seeing how it works. So far so good. It looks great. So Arco, what's up? Burn, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you guys. Yeah, man, I know I need to do these more often. Hopefully you guys are feeling motivated. Hopefully you guys are in a good space. But even if you're not feeling super creative or super productive these days, that's okay too. I've been trying to get a little bit more into creating content around that stuff because I put out a few polls recently just asking you guys, where are you? Are you excited? Are you on fire? Are you making a lot of music? Are you kind of burned out? Are you feeling like, you're not really into it right now? And it's okay to be in either one of those spaces. I'm not trying to put any shame on anybody or trying to put any pressure on you that you need to be in a certain place. But I just don't want to be constantly talking about, kind of I guess you call it like the technical mechanics of sync licensing when a large majority of you maybe are in a place where you're not even making music. And because I feel like I'm not really communicating, we're not really having a conversation at that point, because a few of you are working with libraries and making music and cranking it out, and definitely probably having a little bit of a tidbit here and there about how to navigate this industry is probably helpful for you. But I know there's a large number of you guys that are probably just not feeling excited about making music right now. And so those kind of videos are just sort of, well, yeah, one day it'd be nice for me to worry about that stuff, but right now I can't even open up my DAW because I don't even feel like making music. So that's why I keep trying to check in with you guys just to see where you guys are. And I know everybody is all going to be at different places, so I cannot be all things to everybody. I know that I can't make content for everybody, so I'm not trying to be delusional about it all, but definitely want to just keep my finger on the pulse. That's what I at least aim to do here with this channel. So and I love when you guys either put a comment or email me, particularly emails. Actually, I like emails better. When you email me a particular video topic that you think would be really interesting, or there's something that's really been bothering you or frustrating you or confusing you about this industry, when I hear directly from you guys, it starts to, for me, feel like more like we've got like a connection going on. Like this is a community. It's not just a YouTube channel with a webcam and you guys are just names on the screen on the comments. Like that's how it can feel sometimes when I feel I'm not communicating as well as I could. So you guys also can help me with that though, by just letting me know, hey, what about this? What about that? Or if you're just feeling really burned out or whatever, please let me know. The more that you guys let me know what I can do to possibly help, the better I think my content can be and can be more useful for you guys. So I'm really not here to try to puff myself up. I really hope that comes across clear that that's not what I'm trying to do here. As I've always told you guys from the very beginning of this channel, when you get into sync licensing, it's all about serving the people that you work for, right? And when you work with libraries, you're serving them, but really you're serving their clients. But you have to come to business with a sense of service. Like, I'm here to serve, to make somebody's life better. I want to be useful, right? And I'm trying to obviously carry that here with my YouTube channel. It's like, I'm not here to puff myself up or to try to make myself look cool. I'm really here trying to make your guys' lives easier and more profitable and more productive and more creative, and whatever dimension I can possibly try to push you guys in that direction. I feel like that gives me that energy to want to keep showing up here and keep doing this and keep putting out videos. And I'm only doing that honestly because you guys keep letting me know that it's working. Like when I get your emails or your comments that you're feeling on fire, inspired, you're more productive, or you just got accepted by a library, or maybe got your first placement or first royalty check, wherever you are in your journey. Just letting me know about that makes me go, okay, I'm not speaking into the emptiness ether here. we really are kind of communicating back and forth, and something I'm doing is making a difference, and that's really meaningful for me. So that keeps me wanting to be here and to show up. So I appreciate you guys, for all of you guys that are here now, and those of you that have emailed me and left a comment. Please, just as I always say, keep those coming. That's my best paycheck, getting those stories from you guys, and just even hearing when things are really tough. I remember I had what do you call it? An email from a customer. It was like 2 months ago, and I put out a video about it. And he was the one guy who he had been at it for like 5 years, had maybe only made $2,000 or something like that, like literally like pennies, like nothing. He really made nothing in the course of his couple of years in this industry. And that definitely is not my favorite email to get, but I'm glad that I get them, because it does let me remind myself to really be transparent with you guys on like how hard this business can be. I know that it's exciting, and I know that I talk about how awesome it can be for a lot of you guys, but it kicks the hell out of a lot of people, and people that have been in it for a lot longer than you have are really deciding on a day-to-day basis, should I keep doing this? Is this really worth it? I don't know. I was definitely there. I was definitely there for a long time and early in my career, probably like from year 2 to year 4 or 5. I was just like, every time I got that royalty check, it'd be like, that might be it. I might be done. Let's just back out of this thing. But you just you got to know that it's rough. You got to know that it's hard. I even had another student just this week let me know that he's also, he had 3 libraries in a row essentially reject him, or not even reject him. They didn't even listen to his music. Like, didn't even click on the link. Ugh, like that sucks. Like, that really, really sucks to not even get confirmation that you were either in the right ballpark or not in the right ballpark. So, for me, it's good to get those stories, even though it bums me out to hear them, because it lets me know, all right, hey, this might be a time to do a little bit of a reality check, kind of tough love video, or just focus on some of these subjects they're hard. They're really hard to just face the reality of, getting through to wherever you feel success is for yourself in sync licensing is not going to come quick. It's not going to come easy. And there are definitely going to be moments, times, months, maybe even years where you're just going through the motions and you really feel like giving up. And that happens to every single one of us that's in this business. And I don't think there's a way around that. I mean, I think you can stay productive, you can stay motivated, you can certainly share with other people when that happens, and maybe we can help each other get through that. But I don't think there's any shortcut or way around that struggle. That suffering is going to come into our lives in sync licensing. So anyways, I hope you guys don't get bummed out from that stuff, and you see that as just like kind of a healthy reality check, so you guys know. I want to make sure you guys know what you're getting involved in here, right? And not just sending you off into the wolves, into the wilderness, and saying, yeah, good luck, it's all going to be great. Like, nope, you're going to have to hunt once in a while. You're going to get attacked here and there. You're going to have to cover up from some horrible weather going on. So by the way, if any of you guys are in Florida, I hope you guys are all right down there. I was catching up on that hurricane. That seemed nasty down there. So I hope you guys are doing okay and staying out of the water. I don't know how long that takes to clear out, but it doesn't look like it's going to do that anytime soon. So, all right, enough of my little rant. Now that we've got some questions popping up in the chat, let's say hi. Good morning, Debbie. Watching from Bulgaria. Wow, I think that's a first, Debbie. I'm glad you're here. I don't think I've had anybody from Bulgaria before. Borhe, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Welcome from Finland. That's cool. Byrne has a question. Do you think there's much demand for 80s style synthwave these days? There is a demand for that, Byrne. I would say that, I think it probably had its more peak demand maybe 2 years ago, 1 to 2, maybe 3 years ago. I think it's still here, but I feel like that 80s synthwave thing that really got kind of big was sort of 2016 to 2020, 21. So it's still out there, and you'll still hear placements with it. I don't know if it's necessarily a big in-demand sound right now, so I think it's a little past its prime. If I were getting into working with a new library, that's probably not the direction I would want to go in, only because I think there would be a couple of uses for it, but it wouldn't be large numbers of uses for it. Even when it was sort of more popular a few years back, I don't know if I could say like I would jump 100% into that style. Maybe 1 album, 2 albums, just to kind of throw something out there. But those kind of retro styles that come in, they're really good to probably throw out 1 or 2 albums in, but not to do like your entire year on, to really throw all of your effort into that style, because while they come into demand, as you can tell, as you've seen in your life, they don't stay in demand for long, right? So you're not going to be seeing 5, 10, 20 years of placements with that album that you produced of 80s synthwave. You might get a few here and there, but at some point, and I know this because I got heavily into dubstep, if you guys remember. Dubstep was a pretty big genre back in early 2010s. And I just jumped so far into that. I was putting album after album of just dubstep music, and yeah, got a couple of placements, got a couple of great ones. But as time goes on, those ones are gone. Like I never see those on my royalty checks anymore. There's, dubstep's just, it's over. It's not really something that is in high demand, and consumers are just not really connecting with that sound anymore. So my best advice for any type of either throwback or just current genre that's really popular, sort of it seems like it's kind of a fad. You can kind of tell when they are a fad. Like dubstep was definitely a fad. It was just wild, crazy, noisy music. Jump into it a little bit, but don't overcommit to it, because just in the long run, it probably won't pay off. Money Up Records asking, what are some good companies to submit to? It's a really great question, and it's good that you're asking that before you submit, and you don't just throw your music to any library that you find online. I have a couple of services that can help you find those good music libraries that you want to submit to. One is a music library directory, which has basically over 250 music library companies that you can submit to. You got to do your own research though. It has all their websites and phone numbers and email addresses, but you got to search through them and find, are they the right fit for you? And the faster way, and the way that you can get my personal recommendations on terms of which libraries I think are the top, the best of the best, that's a service called Sync Edge. So you can basically go to syncedge.me, syncedge.me. I think I spelled that right. Whatever, just type Google Sync Edge, you'll find it. And that basically gives you a recommendation list of the libraries that I feel are the most legit and are basically in these they're like boutique exclusive libraries that are really good at creating relationships with composers, okay? Can't guarantee you're gonna get accepted just because you sign up for my service. I cannot guarantee you're gonna get placements just because you get accepted by one of the libraries inside of my service. I can't guarantee you anything about how they perform for you. All I can do though is give you the best direction. I can say, go in that direction. These are the companies that are the best, that have the best reputations, and are also in a position to really do well for you in terms of, you're not gonna be just one out of 1,000 composers, which there's, those pay to play websites, there's a lot out there where you're creating an account, and as soon as you wanna talk to somebody, it's like, all right, pull up a customer support ticket. Wow, that really makes you feel very valuable that you have to put up a customer support ticket to get like some team member to get back to you. It's like, these libraries that I'm recommending in Sync Edge, you get to know their CEOs, or at least the contact person that's going to be reaching out to you directly from the company. And that's what you really have to do in this business if you want to succeed. You've got to have direct relationships with people who know you, care about you, and actually want to advocate for you and actually pitch your music to their clients. Emily's asking, do you put back your earnings back to your music? Do you mean like, do I take some of my royalties and invest it into my studio? Yes, I'll do that from time to time if I feel like there's something I need to update, like if I need to get a new keyboard or a new piece of software or a new plugin or something, for sure. Yeah, it's just kind of standard business investing. You take some of your profits, invest it back into your business so you can create more awesome music to create more income for yourself. So for sure, I think that's what you're asking there. Mahalo Music. I don't think I got that right, but sorry. What is the best way to find relevant sync licensing libraries? Do you think there's a demand for a mix of hip hop, techno, and folk? Yes. As I just said before, Sync Edge I think is the best thing going on in town. That's why I created it. I didn't see anything else online that was close to that, so that's why I created that service. So I definitely just recommend Sync Edge if you want to find a library today, like literally today you can find one. Do you think there's a demand for a mix of hip hop, techno, and folk? Like mixing all three of those? I don't know about mixing all three of those. Hip hop and folk, yes. Techno and hip hop, yes. I don't know. Mixing all three of them seems like it's kind of going to be a big stretch. So if you individually put those out, yeah, I think each one of those can certainly do it. But combining all three of them might be a little bit of a spicy soup to put together, if you know what I mean. Glad you enjoyed the channel. That's awesome. All right. Damn, Burn just says he got a $1,500 placement, my highest yet. I started thanks to your channel. Wow, man, that's awesome. That's really cool. Treat yourself, man. Buy yourself a new keyboard or whatever you need, or save it. Do something very prudent. Don't listen to my financial advice. That's for sure. Mahalo is asking, what do you think about hyperpop and the other new edgy music styles? I actually don't even know what hyperpop is, so I don't think I can. Sounds cool. I'm gonna check that out. Hyperpop. Never heard of that. the heavy hitters band, what are some types of cues that I should be focused on? It depends on what your style of genre is. So, if you do rock, you should be looking at the rock cues in these libraries. If you're hip hop, obviously go into hip hop. So start with your genre, whatever genre you're focused on that you want to get into. That's what you should be focused on in terms of if you're watching TV, you can obviously be taking notes and listening to what's going on TV, but really doing your research by finding those music libraries directly. You can listen to the music on their website and you can go, oh, well, this is how they're putting their rock music together. Each track is 1:45. They all have about 3 acts in them. They build up. They start very quickly in a big epic way. They kind of have a little relaxed section and they build back up. Whatever happens in the tracks in that library, you basically start to focus on using those as your reference guide and going, okay, well, these tracks have been accepted by the library. They're probably doing well with them. That's why they have them in their catalog. I'm going to basically create something that's just like that. So, Padufo, I'm a lead guitarist. If I'm doing riff-based rock track, should I bother putting any sort of shred type solo? Does that sort of add value to a track? Getting very technical, especially with you rock producers, if you're trying to show off how technical your riffs are, or also your drums. I hear this a lot with metal tracks that come in, and it's like, these like 30-second note crazy drum kick patterns and drum fills, and it's just like, it's too noisy. And what I hate to sometimes give that pushback to some of you guys, because I know you've got amazing talent and you want to kind of show off like how crazy and intricate you can get. The average consumer customer isn't impressed or interested in any of that, because they just want to hear something that grooves, right? Like, that's why I've always focused on, like, get away from technicalities and get more into groove. So I always say, like, keep things fairly simple. Doesn't mean it has to be less heavy. You can have some heavy rock music that doesn't have a lot of technical stuff going on, because a lot of it comes into how you compose your riff. So, or you put a pause in your riff and then boom, slam it back in. That creates heaviness, and it doesn't have to be a 30-second note drum line, going nuts, just having crazy drum fills and solos all over the place. You don't need to stack it up, and in fact, when you get into sync licensing, you'll find less is more. So the less you can do in your track, but keep the emotional intensity present, the more licenses you're going to get with that track. So don't try to go into more complexity. Again, one mistake that I made is getting into complex electro music for an album, sending it to a library and having the library tell me, we're fans of this, we think it's cool, but it's way too complex and glitchy and distracting for any of our clients. We just don't know where we can place this, so we're just going to have to pass on it. So please don't, make that same mistake. Try to create something that just is more focused on groove, less on technicalities. So. All right. Looking for placement, sent you an email. Can you better direct me alone with sending me your PayPal info? Please do not, if you want to get placements, don't email me at all, like thinking that I'm going to shop your music. So I have to be a big waving a flag here. I don't shop people's music. I'm not going to get you placements. I'm not going to get you hooked up with a library. I don't do any favors for anybody. I'm not anybody's manager. I don't do anything like that, okay? I don't shop music. So I just need to let everybody know that. Please don't think that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm about. I've never done that, and I shouldn't say I never will, but I probably never will. It's just not what I got into teaching this stuff about. If you want to learn how to empower yourself, if you want to get some educational resources so you can make these direct relationships and you can send music to these companies and create your direct one-on-one with them, then I can definitely help you out with that. But do not send me music saying, yo, I'll give you 50% of the writers, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. I will say no to every single one. So I just want to make sure you guys knew that, okay? What do you think about songs getting on radio airplay? Is it very rare for songs to be in rotation? I'm not exactly sure what your question is, Emily. What do I think about songs getting on radio play? Is it rare for songs to be in rotation? I'm not sure. Maybe you can rephrase that one. I'm not sure exactly of how that relates to sync licensing. So if you can help me out there, maybe I can help you. So, all right, Lyra Long, great ideas. Thank you so much. Hypothetically, if I make 100 licensable tracks, get them all with a library within a year, how long will that take to generate full-time income? Another question I cannot answer. Okay, so I cannot give you a sort of guarantee. All right, well, if you make this many tracks and you stick with the library for this long, you are going to find full-time income with, it's not a formula like that, okay? Wish it was. I would love to say that it is. I would love to tell you guys that it's just a matter of numbers and time equals you're gonna get there. I have students that first jumped into a library, within a week or two, got a $20,000 placement. Okay, and then it just snowballed from there, and they just kept doing well. I've also had that student that I told you before. He's got hundreds of tracks. He's been at this for 5 years. He's only made $2,000 total, not 2,000 a month, 2,000 total. So we have to get out of this thinking that there's some sort of a formula that if I have a certain amount of tracks and I just stick with it for a long time, I will get there. I will say roughly, if you are creating 2 to 3 tracks a week, right? So that means you're basically putting out an album about a month, and you're sticking with this consistently, 2 to 5 years is about where you can see your income hit, I'd say around 20 to 50,000 a year. Okay, probably more likely 20. It's going to be probably more on the lower side, but you can definitely get into a right situation where your tracks blow up and you get some amazing placements and you start getting into the larger figures. There are definitely sync licensing producers that make over 6 figures. It's definitely possible. So, but I don't want to give you guys any sort of false hope or give you any sort of guarantees of, yeah, it's going to definitely happen for you as long as you just do this, this, this. Can't give you any of that guarantee. All I can say is if you focus on what you can control, which is how high quality your music is, and make sure that you are working with legitimate high quality music libraries that respect you and answer your questions and are getting you placements, and you see all that kind of happening, then you just need to stay the course. Because for you, it might happen in 3 years. It might happen in 6 years. I mean, some people, they stick with this for 10 years. It might take that long before they see that. So if you're not enjoying the process of making music now before those royalties kick in, you'll never get there. I'll tell you that for sure. So you cannot be in this for money. You cannot be in this for royalties. If you enjoy it, like there's just a part of you that feels more alive when you're making music, then making money is going to be great, and that's going to be obviously a very important part of your process, but it's not what's keeping you in business, right? Keeping you in business is your energy and your emotions and your just love of creating music, and that's what's going to jet you through many disappointing royalty statements and missing royalty statements that don't even show up, and you were expecting some royalties to come through. So it's just something that you gotta have to realize that money and royalties are a sort of side effect of doing this, sitting in front of your computer, loving it, doing your best, and being of use and serving other people. If you do all those things, success and money and contracts and all that good stuff is just a side effect, essentially, of doing the work, though. So focus on the work. Focus on the things that you can control. Man, we were getting behind here. We got quite a few questions here. I'm interested in game sync licensing, but don't want to shut off the option of fill sync, maybe full sync. What's a good library? Can't give you library recommendations on this stream. If you want to check out Sync Edge, that's where you can get my music library recommendations. So definitely take a look at that and see if that's something that might be useful for you. Mike Corson, how to restore trust due to late deadlines for the release of the album from the label. Mike, sorry to hear that. I'm going to tell you, you are probably the 3,945th sync licensing producer to have a library release an album late. So, sorry, man. You're one of the few. We all have had that happen to us, Mike. I'm telling you, every library I've worked with says, yo, dude, we're going to put this out next month. And it's 4 months later and it's still not out. 6 months, whatever. It's just human beings, man. I mean, there are definitely some libraries that are really bad and they might just shelve your album and never put it out, or they just get completely sidetracked. So that can definitely happen. I don't want to say that it's, something to just not take seriously. You should, but also know this is a snail's pace business, my friend. Libraries take forever to do stuff. Royalties take forever to get to you. Sync fees take forever to get paid out to you. Everything is slow. It's just the way this industry is. It's just the way this world is. So, again, it's one of those things where, how did I get through that stuff? Well, I just put my head down and I just kept focusing on what I can control. Can't control whether or not they're going to release my thing on time. Can't control if I don't get royalties for 9 months. Can't control if it's going to take 90 days to get that sync fee finally. What can I do? Got my DAW. I'm calling myself a sync licensing producer. I better be producing music, okay? Nobody's paying me to sit on my thumbs and wait for my album to get released, right? So trust, for sure. There's definitely something that you should do in terms of reaching out to them and saying, you guys had said it was going to be released on this date. It's not released yet. Can you guys please give me an update on where the status of the album is? Communication is always the solution for trust that's faltering, the trust that's kind of falling apart, and you're kind of getting that feeling like, I don't know if these are really my guys, these are really my people. Communicate. Immediately email them, let them know you are concerned, you just want to get an update, you want to know what's happening with your music. So If they respond to you in a great way, okay, trust can be restored. And it's like, okay, cool, they just got busy or whatever. If they tell you to just screw off and they say, you're bothering us, leave us alone, we'll let you know when it's ready, that also is a confirmation that maybe you should just bail out of that company. It's not a good company if they're not giving your concerns adequate consideration, right? So you can get certainty either way, no matter how that transaction goes. And I can see that I am glitchy again, but it says excellent connection, so I don't know. Very strange. All right, Bern, I know you got some questions, buddy. I'm going to try to go some new people that haven't had their question answered, though. Stonehurst Studios. Hey, Toby here. Contrary to in-trend, out-of-trend example, 80 synthwave, what do you think sticks as timeless? Obviously, nothing is timeless, but what do you think is going to stand out the best of time? Great question. So what music will stick around for 10, 15, 20 years? Obviously, impossible to predict that, but I've definitely, if you look back in history, it's not so much styles of music, but like instruments focused. Which styles of music with an instrument focus have lasted as long as the longest? Well, guitar, right? Rock does evolve and change, and of course, but using guitar in your music usually can transcend decades. It doesn't have to necessarily have a shelf life, because that synth sound in the newest EDM subgenre is now just lame and weak, and we're done with that now, right? Guitar has been around for a long time and is going to keep being around for a long time. So guitar, piano, of course, one of the oldest ones. Strings, orchestral elements is definitely going to be there. So trying to focus and include instruments, not so much worrying about the genre that you're working on, but whatever genre you are, including timeless instruments, which would be guitar, piano, and strings, orchestral elements, that kind of a thing, then you're going to be able to have a little bit more of a staying power with your music. So that's something that you can kind of inject into any genre that you're working in. UXL Music Group, is a sync agent still relevant? I have full songs. If sync agents here, this is what I think about sync agents. Sync agents can be great if you are primarily trying to be an artist and you're trying to just basically gather a public fan base. So you're trying to go on tour, sell records, if anybody does that anymore, sell merch, sell tickets, that kind of thing, or just get a viral video going with viral music video or whatever. If you're primarily trying to capture a public audience, I think a sync agent is where you need to go, because you can basically just hand off your tracks to them and they just are basically like a talent agent. Like if you're in Hollywood and you want somebody to get you gigs, that's pretty much all they're going to do, is just keep their eyes out, look for gigs for you, but they're not going to take your publishing. I don't think any of them really do. They're only going to basically split your sync fee. I think the upfront money, sometimes they even put it in your favor, like 60-40, like you get the vast majority of it. So I think a sync agent is probably better for you if that's where you are. Libraries, and the path that I've been taking, and the one that I'm teaching everybody with this channel, it's more for those of us that are not trying to get public fan bases. We don't necessarily want a viral video. We don't want to go on tour. We don't do any of that kind of stuff. More music videos. All we want to do is just create music. And so we are kind of just loving the process of being music producers. So when you get into this style and this kind of focus and these sort of values of what you really want to do, music libraries are the best, because they constantly are asking you for more music, and they have a large number of clients. In fact, a lot more than a sync agent would traditionally. Libraries can have multiple music supervisors pulling music. They can have reality shows, ad agencies, trailer house. They can have every type of video game producers. Anybody who needs music can be coming from a music library, and it keeps you busy, because that means that you can constantly be doing what you love to do, cranking out music, and hopefully getting some great placements. So hopefully that answers that about sync agents. Technical questions about loudness. I'm aiming for a LUFS loudness level of -14. What can I add to my tracks to increase loudness without totally changing the arrangement? That's a big question. Probably too much to get into right now. We have a lot of tutorials in Sync Academy that cover mixing and mastering issues like that. Some of our tips and tricks that we do that. So if you are in Sync Academies, go peep that out. Too many things I could probably go into. I don't want to weigh down this Q&A with that one. But it is a good question. Getting your tracks on par with the competition is very, very important for sure. All right, Julian, how bad is it to offer a track that is already on Spotify, but without giving away any ownership? So the issue, and this is probably the most common question I get from artists and bands, is like, hey, we've got music on Spotify, or wherever, and we want to, by the way, can everybody leave me a like? I see we have 39 viewers, but only 7 likes. 40 viewers now, 7 likes. We should even that ratio out a little bit. Give me a couple of likes down below, guys. I would really appreciate that. Back to your question here, which was sending your music to a library but having it already out on Spotify. So many producers do this. So many producers want to know this, at least. So lots of musicians. Some exclusive libraries will be okay with your music being out there. Some won't. The worst thing you can do is just send music to them and not tell them that your tracks are out there for the public, because if they find that out on their own, and you signed an agreement with that library saying that they could have exclusive rights to distribute your music, well, guess who violated the contract? You did. Because you didn't tell them that your music is available out there for another music supervisor or somebody else to use if they want to directly contact you and use it. So always be transparent with your library that you work with. Always just let them know what the situation is. If you work with a non-exclusive library, absolutely all day long. Non-exclusive means just that. You can do whatever you want with your music on top of sending it to a non-exclusive company. So if they give you a non-exclusive agreement, then you know that you're safe. If it's exclusive, it's a 50-50 deal. Some libraries are okay with it, some are not. Tahir Springer, how big is the market for orchestral trap? Very big, actually. So trap music, hip hop music with orchestral music is all over the place in sports. Go watch any sporting event and you're going to hear that style all day long. And also you get to see it in like promos and ads and commercials and that kind of thing. Also reality TV shows. So there's a lot of reality shows that would use that. So it's very, very, very big. So you got to bring some great high quality music to that, but that's a very, very high in demand style of music. Bread and butter. Do you think tech house is a genre that is in demand at the moment? It's very popular in the UK club scene, but wondering if it translates to sync. I don't really see or hear a lot of tech house going on right here. Maybe that's more of a UK thing happening. Maybe it'll eventually trickle over to us, but right now I don't hear a lot of that. What do you think about Splice? Splice is awesome. I use it, but you got to be careful. I did put out a couple of videos. This is from Ricardo. I put out a couple of videos, Ricardo, about you got to be careful about using loops in Splice, because people can start sending each other frivolous lawsuits saying, hey, I used that same loop in my production and you didn't, basically you used it as well. Therefore, I'm going to say that you stole my music, even though that composer took it from Splice legally. It's a big mess, and there are some ways to basically be careful of it. Check out my video and just type in Splice, and you'll see I have kind of like some helpful guides and sort of like a 3-rule checklist to make sure that you're being safe when you work on Splice. Again, all of it's legal. Nothing's illegal that we're talking about. You're going to do everything according to their end user license agreement, but frivolous lawsuits don't care about what was legal in that agreement, right? People can still send you, and this is the one thing with that video that just drives me, it's funny, but it drives me crazy. So many people are like, dude, why are you telling people to stay away from Splice when these frivolous lawsuits will just get thrown out? There's no legal valid claim for them. I'm like, you didn't watch the video, because I said that multiple times. These are not valid lawsuits that are getting thrown at music producers. One of my friends, Mike, if you guys know Mike Gennaro, who's in our Sync Academy community, he was a music library owner that got thrown one of these lawsuits. They don't care whether or not things were done legally with, and even if everything 100% was done legally through the end user license agreement with Splice, frivolous lawsuits can still drain you of time, drain you of energy, and even drain you of money. Because if you got to go get a lawyer to at least bat it off, you definitely don't want to just ignore something like that and be dragged into court. Who wants that? You can say all day long, well, it's just frivolous, so who cares? I'll just move on with my life. Like, good luck with that. I don't think any lawyer would advise you to just ignore any lawsuit coming at you. I think you need to address a lawsuit when it's coming at you. So I was just trying to make sure that you guys do not get confronted with a situation like that just pulls your focus away, right? If at the very least, it's going to pull your focus away from making music, which is what you want to do. There we go, 30 likes. That looks a lot better. But we have 44 viewers, so 14 of you guys are holding out on me. So I guess I won't hold a grudge for too long. Let's see, where were we at here? Bill, glad you're here. We're welcome. We're too far down. There we go. Isomatic, Jesse, now that it's getting cooler outside, I really want to commit to putting out a 12-track EDM album per month, 3 tracks a week. If I keep it simple, focus on groove, I know I can do it. Yes, you can. And I like that you're thinking about that in that way. It's really, really smart to do that. Julian's asking, what's your opinion about Taxi? Is it easier to get a deal via Taxi or by looking for a suitable library yourself, especially orchestral instrumentation, neoclassic, epic, EDM, etc.? So Taxi is for some producers, and I think it's just not for others. That's really kind of where I put Taxi. It's not for me, and I don't recommend it only because I don't think it's necessary. I think if you want to directly research your own libraries and submit music to them, they have open doors. They're not like record labels. I think a lot of people think that this business with music libraries is like record labels, where getting your music into a record label to get signed is almost impossible. Like, no unsolicited material, right? They don't take anything unless they know you, kind of a thing. It's not like that with music libraries. Music libraries are in the business of gathering and collecting new music from new composers and new artists every single day. That's what they do. So you can use a service like Taxi to basically get the briefs and find out, maybe get yourself motivated to pitch to some of these companies. But essentially you're just paying kind of a middle person to be in between you and that company, where it's not necessarily to do that. You can literally just go to these library websites, look up what kind of music that they have, decide if you have something that could really fit in with their clients, and then directly email them. And so there's no middleman. There's no sort of like, wondering, did they pitch my music off to them? Did I like it? Did I not like it? You can kind of directly communicate with these companies. And so I find that just to be a much more profitable, and I don't know. My philosophy is like, if you can go direct to the source in anything in life, go direct to the source, right? Never go to a third party of anything if it's possible to go direct to the source. So that's my thoughts on Taxi. I know that there are people that rave and swear by it and say that it's done amazing things for their career, and that's really cool to hear. Other people, I'm one on the other side that didn't feel like they did that much for me when I signed up many years ago. Wasn't really happy with the service I got. So I think you're just going to find a 50-50 kind of spread on that. So it's up to you. If you want to go and get those briefs and that kind of thing, that's probably what it would help you with. But if you want to go directly to the libraries, you can definitely go directly to the libraries. There's nobody stopping you. There's no gatekeepers there. All right. Igor, hey, my libraries are asking me for a lot of custom work for specific pitches with upfront fees around $100 to $300. Cool, man. But it hardly becomes a placement, and it's distracting me from making library tracks. It's a good problem to have, Igor. To basically be like, well, I've got money coming in here, but it's going to stop me from making money over there. That's a great problem to have, my friend. So good for you. Very good. Tough situation though. Like, it's good that you're thinking about this in this way, because I've had situations like that too, where somebody was asking me from a library to create like karaoke versions of popular tunes, and they were going to pay me somewhere probably around there. I don't remember how much it was. It was probably, let's say, $200. And they were like, and we're going to need dozens of these things, so you can literally do this for the next 2 months. Like, just constantly give us new tracks. We'll give you $200. Boom, 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 and you get the money now, right? And that was kind of the cool part of it. But doing that would have pulled me away from really building up my library, and I was really loving the library I was working with. So I had to make a balance for myself to say, listen, I'm going to do some work for you guys. It's not going to be an everyday, all day kind of thing. I can't do that for 2 months because I'm going to sacrifice some relationships over here. But I'm going to definitely give you guys, let's say, 1 track a week or 2 tracks every week or whatever it was for me. And I'll basically keep this relationship kind of going. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware that, yes, you don't necessarily always want to just chase that upfront quick money, because that can definitely turn into a problem that you've sacrificed a long-term income down the road. So that's something that I just want to make you guys aware of. So I'm sorry to cut this one a little short, guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop here, but I do appreciate you guys being here, and thank you guys for all the likes. We almost got to perfect 43 out of 43. We got 38. That's really, really, really good. So appreciate you guys being here. Mark Himley. Mark, man, you've been back with me for years. Good to see you, man. You guys go check out Mark's YouTube channel. I know he's put out a couple of videos about sync licensing. He's here in the chat. Mark, Himley. So hope you don't mind me shouting you out, Mark. He has some really cool videos, some really helpful stuff about sync licensing too. He's an OG. He's been in this business for probably almost as long as me, maybe. And he's been through it all. So he's definitely somebody that can steer you guys in some great directions too. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.